This is my 2024 travel wrapped. Now, in 2024, I travelled around 14,600 miles. During that time, I visited 14 different countries. But this year, I only visited 2 continents, Europe and Asia. This year, I took 8 flights, and I travelled around 5,000 miles by campervan or car. Now, I barely stayed at accommodation this year. I only stayed at 2 hostels, 2 hotels, and 1 Airbnb, and the rest of my travels were spent in a campervan, which I stayed in for 1 month. Now, this year, I didn't have any near-death experiences, thankfully, although the worst experience I did have was in Turkey when we went into the abandoned town of Beykoz Babas, and we got caught by armed security, and they were quite rough with us, but in the end, we just paid them, and everything was fine. The 3 highlights of my year are Lake Bled in Slovenia, because the water temperature was perfect. You could stay in it all day, and the water is just lovely turquoise colour. We also made friends with this old Romanian lady who was so sweet and kind and told us loads of stories about the history of Romania, and in the end, we asked her to be our babushka, which she said yeah, and it was just such a really nice meeting. And finally, Istanbul in Turkey was another highlight because it's just such a good touristy city, probably one of the best tourist cities I've been to. There's so much to do, it's so easy to get around, and it's a good price, and the weather is also really nice most of the year round. The most exhausting thing was the road trip, which is obvious. You're driving a couple of hours every day, and you're constantly doing things, you don't really have a break. And finally, the cost of all this travel was around £4,000, which is half of what it was last year, but last year I went to 4 different continents.